Hi everyone, I'm Danny. Welcome to Neither Here Nor There, Conversations Across
Changing Careers. Hi everyone, my name is Christina. Today we have someone super special joining us. We have someone who has a really cool career that has then successfully transitioned into a second one. So we'll hear all about our new Auntie Kalpana calling in from India. Hi Auntie, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you girls doing?
Really good. Really excited to chat with you today.
Me too.
I hear you had 2 successful careers, and I want to hear all about that. But before we get into that, can we get a quick background on, an introduction to you and your life and who you are?
Yes.
Okay, so at this point of time, I am 61 years of age. And I would say this is actually a third career, not a second career.
Third career. Oh, we got that mixed up.
Yeah.
Wow, so many things. Okay.
That's because nobody thinks of my absolute past. So my very first career was working with a bank. And from childhood, I have been very fascinated with phones. So I did a course for telephone operator. And I was appointed as a telephone operator and a receptionist in Citibank.
Okay.
Which is a job I did for a little over 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks. And then, I got a little fed up of working for somebody else. And so my husband and me, we decided that, we should do something of our own. And we decided to shift cities also from Mumbai to Bangalore because we were also finding it very tough to get admission for our son.
Okay.
And the school we got in was not that great. So we said, okay, let's start afresh. So we started completely fresh in a new city where we didn't know the language. And in those days in Bangalore, people were more, staunch their own language speakers. They were more Kannada speakers. But they were still very warm and welcoming to us. And little difficulties everybody has when you move states. But overall, it was a very lovely experience.
How old was your son, Auntie, at this point?
He was, okay. So Pari was 1.5 when we moved. He's 6 years older. So he was 7.5. And I think we took admission for him directly in third standard.
Wow. Okay.
So he completed some 6 months over here in Mumbai and then we called him there. Yeah. So initially it was 3 of us, Pari, my husband and me. And then we took my son with us. And that's how in Bangalore, Bangalore ran a women's wear store for close to 25 years.
So that was just the first change as well. You guys have like a couple more changes as well after that.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, the next change was when I closed down the business in 2018. We all got together and the question was that what would I do? And Pari very sweetly, Pari my daughter, very sweetly and nicely, she offered. She said, Mama, you're 55 and you know what? I can take care of you. I'm working. She was working in Singapore at that time.
That is such a good daughter. Can we just pause for that? That's amazing.
Yeah, really, really amazing. So she said, Mama, you can now sit at home. I don't mind. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of everything. I said, thank you. That's very sweet of you. I highly appreciate it. But what do I do with this energy which is there in me? I'm like, there is too much energy and there's something which bites my butt that I can't just sit and not do something.
Yeah.
I said, maybe I'll take up a job or something. So this thing was, at the age of 55, what kind of salary will anybody offer? You run a store, you will basically get a store manager's job or something like that. What will you earn? 30, 35K and it's like as good as nothing.
Right.
So I had already done ads in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll come back to how that opportunity came. So we all were talking, wondering what to do. And suddenly the answer came that, Mama, you've always been saying that Mumbai has way more opportunities for acting than Bangalore. I said, yeah, Mumbai is an ocean. Because there I can do ads, I can do web series, I can do movies, I can do TV serials. The opportunity is way more. So they go like, there you go, move to Bombay. I'm like, what? Move to Mumbai? I said, okay, who's coming with me? And
Yeah.
Pari goes, Ma, I'm in Singapore. I'm not going to come with you, obviously. And my son says, I'm happy here in Bangalore. I'm not going to come. So my husband is already in his own life. We are not together. So then it was like my mother-in-law, she's like, I wouldn't mind coming. But then when I'm moving to, in a way, a new city because I was away for 25 years. But if I
Right.
bring her with me,
Yeah.
I won't be able to do my running around because she needs to be taken care of. She
Right.
was at that
Right.
age when she needed to be taken care of. So the answer was very simple according to them. You go alone. I said, are you
Wow.
crazy? Alone? He says, yeah, isn't Mumbai your hometown? What is your, fear? I said, yes,
Yeah.
but all I know is the main names of the stations or rather main
Right.
places over here. I don't
Right.
know anything beyond that. So, very, very casually, she says like, "Ma, you learn. What's the big deal?" So I said, okay. And I was very scared, let me tell you. I'm scared. I was very scared because till 55 years, though I ran my own business and I did move around and all, but I have never anywhere moved to a place all alone. And when you move
Right.
with
Yeah.
baggage to start a new life in a semi new place and an absolutely
Yeah.
brand new career move from everything that
Yeah.
I've known. So earlier,
Yeah.
even though I did ads, I still had the family, the business, and everything. And here it
Right.
is just that. And I have to go hunting in search of casting directors and where there are auditions happening
It's
and to
crazy.
production offices. It's not something which according to people somebody at the age of 55 would do. But I
I
was
mean,
like,
not usually. Not usually. You're
yeah,
right.
no, not usually. This is something done by 20, 25-year-olds, not
Fair.
somebody who is. Uh, I'm not saying people in Mumbai are not doing it. There are many I know who have started their career at an older age, but they have been living in Mumbai. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
life that they know.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, everything was brand new.
Yeah.
And it's, where am I? Like,
Yeah.
Did you have family nearby as well when you moved?
no, I do have my sisters. My one elder sister lives here and a brother. But
Yeah.
Mumbai is an ocean. They are exceedingly far away in different
That's fair.
corners.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So, and where I live is where we need to be as actors close by
Yeah.
to places where we can go and meet the casting directors, go for auditions. And it's a
Yes.
central location. So from here to travel for shoots,
But aunties, I'm just curious because you mentioned you've done ads before, and of course now we reveal that you've moved to pursue your acting career. But has acting always been your passion? Is that something you've always thought about doing?
yes, I was very much interested in it and always wanted to do it. And at the age of 16, an opportunity had come, and I had very
Oh,
excitedly gone to my mama. And she gave me a standard statement, which, I would say girls, those days ka girls, my age, heard from their parents, is that girls from good households don't enter this industry. So,
oh.
so
So then
mama
you
didn't.
put it your way, put your
Yeah,
dreams away.
I put it away because at that time we didn't know anything else but except what the parents said was good for you.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that specifically? So like when you were 16, you had the idea in your mind that you wanted to act, but then you weren't from a, like you didn't want to be because of the good
Yeah,
household.
good household.
And what made you make the move several decades later to decide to do that then?
So one fine day, I received a call from a lady with whom I had connected in Bangalore. Rather,
Yeah.
I used to participate. She has a seniors club. So she had put up some exhibition and I had participated in it from the store. And my picture was there on her FB profile. That time FB was more prominent. And a casting director, she happened to see my picture over there.
Yeah.
And she reached out to her and she asked her, do you think she would want to be in ads? I'm looking for a grandma for an ad. And she said, let me ask her. So she
Yeah.
calls me and she says, hey, Kalpana, do you know, would you like to be in an ad? A casting
Uh-huh.
director is asking. And I was literally like, you have that drop the mic moment. I went, really? I said, this is something always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I said, definitely yes, but I said, you know what, let me just talk to my family, because
Yeah.
end of the day, when you have family, you must talk to them. I had made up my mind, but one should talk to them. So I asked, and everybody's like, hey, why not? This is
Why
something
not?
you
Yeah.
always wanted to do, and an opportunity is falling in your lap. Why say no?
Uh-huh.
So I said, yeah, and it was for also one of my favorite car brands. It was for Honda.
Whoa.
And I'm
Wow.
like, oh my God. So that is how, at the age of 51,
Uh-huh.
I started the ads ka business in Bangalore.
Okay.
So over the next 4 years, I did a couple of ads, rather fair bit of ads I did. And, that's when that, in Hindi we call it a keeda. Keeda means a worm. That worm went and sat inside, and it's like, okay, now we must scratch this itch.
I love
Yeah.
it. So then at
Yeah.
55, you decided to then go to Mumbai and pursue this full time as your next career.
Yes.
Wow.
And
That's
my
a big
children,
move.
they gave me an ultimatum.
Uh-huh.
They said, Mama, if within 6 months you do not do something worthwhile,
Uh-huh.
some worthwhile role, some good role and all, then you will leave everything and you will come back, because then there is no point in staying over there. That means
Right.
no doing, you have background characters in shoots and all. Like you will see there is a big scene, there's a big party, and somewhere in the middle you are standing. This is no
That's
doing
not good
that kind. No, you need to be something like, where you are there, you're visible, and it's like, it's a role.
Right,
So
right.
I'm like, okay. And in my mind, in the flight, I had decided that, you know what? I am not going back to Bangalore with my tail between my legs. I am going to make it here. It's like,
Uh-huh.
a decision which I had mentally taken. Now,
Right.
couple of things happened in the first 6 months, and which is why I'm still here in Mumbai.
Yeah.
First was within, I think, 1.5 months of being in Mumbai, there is this superstar in India known as Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes.
Heard of
Yes,
him?
of course.
Yeah. So Shah Rukh Khan was doing a shoot. That year we had elections in India. So he wanted to tell people go and vote. So it wasn't for any political party. It was for to tell people, you know what, it is important that you go and vote. So when, the casting person called me, I told him, hey, you know what, Shah Rukh Khan, it'll be a big crowd. I don't want to do. He says, no. He's very particular. There will be just 10 or maybe 12 people. You will 100% be visible. I said, okay. And yes, I was very much visible. I got that. And within 2.5 months, less than 2.5 months of being in Mumbai, there is another superstar in India. His name is Rajnikant. He is literally like a god. Okay, that's how people look at him. In his movie, I got my debut movie, and I played the role of Human Rights Commissioner.
Okay.
And about a month after that, I don't know if you've heard of Salman Khan. He's another big name in India. I was there as a judge in one of his movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I fully fulfilled the TNCs which my children had put for me, that you need to
Yeah.
do something worthwhile within the first 6 months.
Wow, that's so impressive.
That
That's so
is.
impressive. First of all, you have very strict children. Can I say that?
Yes.
They have they're
they're
so
not.
high
They're very,
standards.
very loving. They're very loving. It's like they were just
We're kid-
worried for me. So not
Yeah.
strict,
No,
but
I understand.
We're
but,
kidding. We're kidding.
But I'm so glad that you were able to really, achieve all of that. So, Auntie, just to understand, you dive into this, you moved to Mumbai. What was your first move? Did you take acting class? What's your, how are you even processing all of this?
no acting class. I have been to 2 acting classes in my life. One I had done just in Bangalore for theatre, and one I recently did in India. So I always say the learning ground for all my acting capability was our women's wear business. So on the store floor, when you're
Really?
talking to people, So we were not the kind of store where, the salesperson just does not look at you. You're walking around, you're looking for a staff. The staff is looking like this, doesn't want to look at you because you will ask for some help, right?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
the reverse. We are there like talking to people, understanding what they need, showing them different things, and like, understanding them and recommending stuff for them. So that actually helped because, when you need to talk to people, a lot of one-on-one talking you need to do, anything that is happening inside of you, it can never show on your face.
Oh.
You always have to be that, I'm all okay. Everything is hunky-dory. So you learn that.
Yeah.
And you learn to leave everything behind and, be in the moment, do what you need to do. So all of that, I feel it really helped me become the actor who I am. And so that's how, according to me, it worked.
That's really
so you
cool.
asked me what I did. Okay. So another very, very, very surprising thing, like I landed in Mumbai on, the date was 29th of January. 29th of January, 2019, I landed in Mumbai. Okay. And I was supposed to, I went and met one production house for one show. And they are like, that time I had boycott. So they're like, ma'am, sorry, we can't have a boycott for this particular role. But your look goes into, there is this one type of people. They are called Parsi people. So your look goes for that. And there is a shoot tomorrow night. Would you like to be there in it? So I was like, no, your budgets are too small and this and that and all. So then that fellow tells me that, you know what? No one who has just moved to Mumbai without signing a contract gets to act immediately the next day. So, why are you saying no? I said, yeah, you're right.
You're right.
And, so the next day, 30th of Jan, I was on a set.
Wow.
And I was shooting.
So crazy.
Yeah.
And it was a night shoot. Okay. So, and moment they told me night shoot, I got scared. Because in Bangalore, I have never been out of the house beyond, say, 9 or 10 in the night. And here, a night shoot means it can get over at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., don't know. So I was like, looking like this, scared. How am I going to go back? Everybody's telling me, this is Mumbai. You don't need to be scared here. You will get enough autos outside and all. So another girl, she was living close by to where I was staying. So she said, Auntie, you know what? My home comes first. So you drop me and then you go. I'm like, okay. And the only way I could find the place was Google Maps. Because I didn't know anything.
Right. It was completely almost new city at this point.
Yeah. And in the darkness, how do you find things? Who's there on the road to guide you if you ask somebody for directions?
Wow.
Everybody at home was like petrified. Is she going to be home, go home, reach home safe? Nobody is around her to, take care of her, guide her, and what is going to happen? And I did something which I had never done in my life. I was living in a PG, of course, with the landlady, but I was living in a PG, and that lady was petrified. She's like, oh God, what if this woman does not come home? Her family will come and ask me.
Wow. What an adventure for literally the next day that you arrive and you're able to start shooting.
Yes.
That's amazing though. Really, it's a great opportunity.
Yes. I always say I'm very blessed and I'm thankful to Lord for it.
Do you have any questions moving forward? Because I have a question about just Auntie, so you decided to switch careers for a third time and move to a city all by yourself and you have all these massive changes. And I'm just wondering, is it you and your personality? Have you always been very good at change and adapting with the flow and adventures and all that kind of stuff? Is this your personality, or is it something that, we can aspire to, we can do as well?
I will say that anybody and everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Though as a Sagittarian, we are meant to be very adventurous. I am not as adventurous as generally Sagittarians are. But I have always looked at it that there is an opportunity. The least one can do is, why not try for it?
Yeah.
What's there to be afraid of? You're only going to fall. At the max, what will happen? You'll fall. You'll fail. Nothing beyond that is going to happen, right? So if you fall and fail, you can get up and do again. So why not?
Yeah.
And anyone can do it. What holds everybody back is fear.
But different
And-
kinds of fear. My fear is, I don't know, fear of embarrassing myself, fear of, I don't know, failure. So it is fear, but sometimes I don't know how to overcome that.
Tell me who in this world, one, hasn't failed,
Who felt
or who
embarrassment.
hasn't had something which has happened in which they are embarrassed. With everybody, it has happened. So when people laugh at you, or when people, make fun of you, and especially this is done by people who are very closest to you, and that is when it hurts the most.
Yeah.
So people who are closest to you, see, I knew you. Why? This is how people start talking, right? So at such a time, you have to train yourself to tell them, so I failed. What's the big deal? But I at least made an effort. What have you done which is different than what everybody else is doing? Or everybody else will be just going like this, like a horse. The eyes are just covered and they're only going in one trade. They only think that once you've graduated, you need to take a job. Once you've taken a job, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. Yeah, but then why can't you, sidestep and do something different also? Maybe you are meant to achieve great things and you're unable to because you're too afraid to take that step. So when you tell people this in an offensive, like you go on the offense, they are taking that offensive step with you. You take that with them, and you tell them, "Hey, why don't you try it? You think it is so easy? Yeah. So just tell them." And again, in Hindi there is a saying, "Dar ke aage jeet hai." That means in front of fear is success.
Yeah.
That's true.
So if you put that fear down, everybody has a fear. Put it down.
Yeah.
And say, yeah, fine. I might fail only, no. But if I don't take the step, I won't know if I'm going to succeed.
Yeah.
And for that, I need to take the step. Because you need to, you have to look into your own eyes every single day, no? And you have to be able to tell yourself, you know what? You tried.
Yeah.
And which is the biggest thing?
Instead of course, looking into the mirror and being like, you didn't take the chance.
Yeah.
It's
So
better.
being embarrassed, you embarrassing yourself by not taking the chance.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's true. That is true, right?
That's some wisdom thrown at me.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you, Auntie.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So with that said, Auntie, now that you've been acting for like 6 years now,
Yes.
yeah, like in hindsight, do you wish you started earlier?
Maybe not. Because I
Okay.
think everything comes into our life at the right time when it is supposed to.
Yeah.
And if I think that had I been here earlier, today I would have been, a name like some of the yesteryear actresses are, or I would have been here, I would have been there. I don't know. Maybe I would have fizzled out. Maybe I wouldn't have done it great then. I don't know. So why live in the past and why try and live in the regret? So I
fair.
avoid thinking about that.
That's totally true. So now that you've, of course, have done it so successfully, and with the concerns, you were mentioning, like when you were making this decision, thinking about it, looking back, what has surprised you the most in this journey so far?
One thing which surprised me is, yes, I took to the life in Mumbai quite well. Yeah. Remember I said I was very afraid that I'm moving to a new place.
Yeah.
I adapted quite well. And I only lived in a PG for 5 months because I started feeling very claustrophobic. And I took up an independent place. And I started living entirely by myself with nobody to share the house with. And I have never ever lived entirely on my own.
That is so true.
Yeah, and that is something which ended up becoming very, very beautiful because I just love it. You be by yourself.
Yeah.
It is the most, I would say, an exhilarating feeling.
Yeah.
It's a very
so
free. You're free.
No one
free,
to
you're
bother
alive.
you.
Yeah. If your house
think
is messy, it's your problem in life.
Yeah, no one else is looking at it.
It's your mess and you can make it. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I like the perspective that you have on everything, especially because, I remember the first time when I lived on my own, I was like, I was nervous about everything. I guess maybe I'm just an anxious person, but I love your perspective on this. You're right. It's freeing, and you can do, I don't know, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So my fear the first night that I was in that house was I was afraid I will not get sleep. Okay. But I had become so tired, shifting over and putting the house up and all. I thought I will stay up the entire night looking, oh my God, is somebody there? Is somebody there? But, I slept.
How was that journey? Because you'd been living with someone for, how many years? Like 50 years?
For so many decades, yeah.
For so many
55.
decades with someone and then living by yourself. You said it was an easy change, or did you have like a bit of a journey before you got to being comfortable? No? Just immediately?
No. I'm happy on my own. 55 years, I did everything for everybody. Now it is time to live my life, which is what I tell a lot of the older women whom I meet and talk to. They are always only, I need to do this for this one. I need to do that for that. I tell them that I'm not saying don't look after your grandchildren or don't do things for people, your family and all. But isn't it high time you take some time for yourself?
Yeah.
You've lived your life for others. Now, isn't it time to live for yourself? When are you going to do what you want to do otherwise?
Yeah.
And especially in India, we get married, you have your family, you have your husband, you have your children, your in-laws. So I lived very less with my in-laws, but after my father-in-law passed away, my mother-in-law was living with us. So, you are all the time only thinking about others, taking care about others. You're only thinking about their happiness, their comfort. And in that entire scenario, your own happiness and your own comfort is at such a bottom rung. And by the time you finished your entire day, you're so tired and exhausted that you never reach that place to do anything for yourself.
Yeah.
That is so true.
And what happens then? They tell, especially here, women are told, girls are taught that it is your job to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And you need to spread happiness. But if she herself is not happy, what is she giving?
Yeah.
If she only has so much, what can she share?
Yeah.
And that is something which I realized when I started living by myself. I started working on myself and I became this very happy being and a very happy soul that now I work to only spreading happiness and joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are people who just want to crib all the time. Crib, whine. This happened, that happened. My children did this. My in-laws did this. My husband did this. This one did that. They're only cribbing and crying and whining. I'm like, get out of that.
Yeah.
Why not be happy and spread happiness?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. If I wasn't this happy, this bubbly, you wouldn't even want me on the show if I was only going to come on the show and say, you know what? Am I right?
That's so true, for sure. I think it's all about perspective, right? Also, like a lot of people, I think, is just how you view things. How do you face challenges and anything else? You have a really good perspective on, a challenge is only a challenge if you find it, if you look at it differently, it's a different attitude towards it.
So, see, like I was telling her earlier, you think people are not embarrassed. Same way, hasn't shit happened to people? It has happened in everybody's life.
Yes.
There's not one single human being on this earth who can say, nothing bad has ever happened in my life. Shit happens.
Yeah.
Fine. Flush it and go start another day.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So
Flush
move on. Be happier, move on.
Keep
And
moving.
it'll help. Yeah, keep moving. It's another day. It's another beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, the sun shines every single day. It doesn't say yesterday was so gloomy, the amount it was raining. You know what? I want to sleep in today. I am not waking up. The sun never does that.
The sun always rises.
So all of us also should think in that way, that why not look at every single day which is coming as a very beautiful day? And what has helped me reach there is being grateful, gratitude. I'm very thankful for everything in my life. Every small thing in my life, I'm very grateful to the Lord and the universe. And without fail, every night, I say at least a little thank you.
That is so true. So I think like that's really helpful because I think, Auntie, as we probably mentioned to you before, we are really facing a lot of our peers, our friends, our classmates that are in these like different crossroads in life. They're making decisions, making big decisions, living alone, living with someone, what stage, what career, when to get married, when to have children. And people are sometimes very anxious about making these big decisions because, like you said, your time and your path changes so drastically. I think that's kind of very interesting then to hear kind of your perspective, or how do you look at things and understand also how to really think about how to spread happiness, right? How to like prioritize yourself as well in that aspect. Do you feel like, Auntie, throughout your kind of your decades of experience and all of that, have you always found facing these crossroads easy on your side?
No. I equally went very low. It's like Pari's dad and me, we are not together. We've been separated for a very long time. And it really was difficult. But again, those days, being in the store used to make a very big difference to me because, like I said, I had no option but to look as though, hey, all is hunky-dory. But internally, it was very difficult. I have equally whined, cried, complained. I have equally done all of that.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Because end of the day, I'm a human being like any other human being.
Of course.
So I did go through my own very bad phases from which at times I used to think, am I always going to be like this? Am I never going to come out? Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it just happened that I just felt that the more whining that I'm doing, my own children are not easily wanting to talk to me. Because every time I'm talking to them, that's all I'm doing.
Right.
So they didn't do anything knowingly. I will not blame both of them. But anybody who's only just whining all the time, nobody wants to talk to them.
Of course.
So, but both my children were my biggest support. And again, a lot of what I am, where I am, the credit does go to both of them for having always supported me.
Yeah.
So we mutually work towards helping each other, come up, prop each other up and all of that. So I wasn't always like that. I will not tell a lie. I have equally been a person who has been down and out because those kind of things happened in my life. But it happens in everybody's life. Again, I'm no special person. It happens in everybody's life. But I realize that it is how I look at it. Do I want to stay down? Because if I decide that I want to stay down, I'm only going to go further down.
Yeah.
And from there, the more and more down that a person goes, from that to come up is very difficult. Come up, out is very difficult. So slowly one has to, so the conversations with self are the ones which help the maximum. Talk to yourself that, is this how I really want to be in my life? Do I want to be this person who is always only thinking that everything bad happened to me and why me? This is a standard thing which everybody thinks about. Why did this shit happen only to me?
Yeah.
So we are nobody special. It happens to everybody. But it is just that many are not showing it and many are showing it. So where do you want to be? And very recently I read about this one person. I forget his name. Oh God, I should be remembering his name. Anyway, he's a very top person. Either he's a footballer, or he plays tennis, or he's in racing. Something, I don't remember who this gentleman is. So something has happened to him, and I think he's having cancer or something like that. So something debilitating. So a person said, why did this happen to you? He said, you know what? When I won the first tournament, that time I didn't ask why did this happen to me. When this good happened in my life, that time I didn't ask why this happened. When this happened, that time I didn't say. So he gave various instances And he said at all those points of time, if at that time I did not question God or the universe, that why did this had to happen to me, then
Right.
why, when something is not going right, should I question why is this happening to me? So that
Yeah.
means we only want to take in everything good
That's really true.
and we don't want anything bad.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Why did this bad thing happen to me? But then if you swap it around and say, why did this good thing happen to me? It changes my perspective on that. I like that.
To be honest, I have so many friends right now I can think of who I need to tell them to, because they just keep coming to me about how bad things are happening in their lives, and I can say the good things also happen in your life, you know?
Yeah.
So
That is so
what I say is that so very recently I was speaking to this one person, and the person is telling me that this happened, that happened, that happened. So the person was basically talking about a broken marriage, and how he is going through a very difficult time and this and that and all. I said, one sec, how much do you love your daughter? Oh, she is my world. So prior to that, the person is talking in, oh, you know what, my wife this, my in-laws this, my that. And then I asked him about his daughter, and the face lit up. And he's like, no, my daughter is my world, and she's like this, she's like that. I said, that is the reason why you got married. And can you be grateful that this beautiful person is there out of what that was not that great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't think of it like that. I said, yes. So now you will not feel as bad.
Yeah.
They say, if you've seen, a lotus only grows in a pond in which there is a lot of scum. But the lotus is so
Oh.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not
Yes.
know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time you see a lotus, just see, it is the full thing is filled with filth.
Yeah.
But see the
Yeah.
flower. And in India, they say lotus is the seating place of this goddess called Lakshmi, who is money.
Oh.
So the goddess of money, that's her seating place. And where is she sitting? In all that, there is filth on top of that.
Wow.
But see that beautiful flower, and she sits in that.
That is so wise.
Good grows from the bad.
You need to, essentially, you need all of it, right? You cannot just
Yeah.
have only the nice water. You need
Yeah.
also the dirty water and all of that to grow.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
make
I
a
love
flower.
it. This is so wise. I'm gonna have to share a lot of this wisdom with all my friends. Wow. Well, like Auntie, I'm just curious, and I'm like looking forward now that you've done all of this, and it sounds like there were some challenges and all of that, but throughout your career right now, and making the plunge into acting, you are like growing and growing and growing. And I hear from Pari also, like, you're doing so well in your career. Like, what do you think is next for you? How do you foresee this panning out for your acting career?
I haven't planned for anything.
Yeah,
I
take
leave
a
it.
day
I
at a
leave it
time.
to the. I leave it to the universe.
Yeah.
Whatever happens for my good. If it's like some of the roles which I really want, I get them. Okay, I'm happy. I don't get them. Also, I'm happy. Like the universe has something very beautiful planned for me. I am not going to say I want only this and I want only that. So I'm just floating wherever I'm led.
Just go with the flow.
Go with
Is it
the
a
flow.
competitive market? Like a competitive
Oh
acting
my God,
world?
exceedingly competitive. And right now the budgets have also tanked so miserably that it's like, at times we feel embarrassed to talk about what budgets we are working on. But
wow.
yeah, it is exceedingly competitive. And this is one industry in which anybody can enter at any given age.
Yeah.
You will always get work.
That is so fun. I never thought of it, because a lot of people in our heads, like Auntie you mentioned, your early 20s and then afterwards you leave. But yeah, I guess you can enter it at any age.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what you've done as well, because you already, you said that you had your family, your children, you weren't living in the house, you moved to a new place, and then you went for your dream as well. And I really like that. You started a new career, in your 50s, and I think that's amazing, because I'm also kind of starting a new career as well in my 30s, and I feel anxious about it, and I don't know, I'm really happy that you're doing great over there.
So to overcome your anxiety, do one thing. Do a Google search. on how many people started a new career at 30, 35 and beyond
Yeah.
and doing well in life.
Yeah.
And see the amount of names which will come up.
Okay.
So
I will do that.
anytime that you're feeling low about you've not reached there, you know, your friends or your classmates or some of your colleagues, they are doing so well in life. They're buying their homes, they're going for holidays everywhere, they have these beautiful cars and all of that. And where am I? Open this and see.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people who have actually started their careers in 30s, 40s, 50s. Hey, McDonald's was also started when the gentleman was very old, including KFC.
So it's never too late. That's the takeaway.
It's never too late. It's never too late. Trust me. Unless you're dead and gone, then it's a different story. Then it is too late.
That is so true.
Agree.
That's very wise. That's very wise. Auntie, before we start wrapping up, I'm just really curious because I see your tattoos. Can you tell us a little bit of the stories there? You're one of the coolest. No one I know from my parents or their friends have tattoos.
Yeah, no, mine as well.
Okay. Oh, well, by the way, Pari gave me a huge earful when I did. This is my first tattoo.
Yeah.
So this is Lord Krishna. Okay. So one of the low periods that I was in,
Okay.
I thought that, God had deserted me. Okay.
Oh, so it was
And,
that low. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought about, I remembered one story. The story had happened, I had read earlier, but this is when I had gone to meet Pari's school principal for something. There was a big story put up on a board over there. There is this sage known as Swami Vivekanand. He is quite popular. So it was given by him. So the story goes that God and a man, they are sitting at a ledge and they're looking back on the man's life. So they are at a beach. So the man is saying, God, till that particular point in time of my life, we can see 2 steps of footsteps. Okay. You were walking with me. And then see from here to there, I was walking alone. Why did you desert me? The man is asking God. So God tells him, the reason why there is only 1 set of footsteps is because, my child, I was carrying you in my hands at that time.
Yeah.
So when I was going through that particular phase, I said, oh my God, what am I thinking? That, my Lord has deserted me? No, hasn't.
Yeah.
So I said, so that I never forget this, next to my heart, I'm going to have him on my hand.
Yeah.
So that every time I look into the mirror, I'm going to see him. And that is how I got the Krishna done here. And Krishna loves peacock feathers. So the next I did is, this is a peacock feather. Can you see?
Wow,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. Oh my God, it's a pain at shoots. They have to cover it up. Because you can't have a grandma with tattoos.
I love it though.
Wow.
And
These are
then
good
the
reminders.
Next one I did is over here.
Oh.
This says I'm lucky. It's the lucky is spelled differently because that lucky is generally L-U-C-K-Y. This is spelled
Yes.
L-A-K-I. This means something to me personally.
Okay. Okay.
So I did
right.
that. And then I think this, either after I had left Bangalore or when I was leaving Bangalore, I did this. I did Phoenix.
That's so,
Yeah.
because it's a reborn.
Yes, rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
Rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did this. Can you see the semicolon tattoo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what a semicolon tattoo stands for? Semicolon tattoo is for in solidarity to people who are going through a lot of depression, anxiety, having suicidal thoughts.
I did not
So
know this.
this is done by people who have gone through that phase and come out
Yeah.
of it.
Wow.
I had reached a phase where I wanted to do the end of my life
Wow.
Yeah.
and I didn't take that step. So in fact, Pari told me, she says, Ma, do you know there is a tattoo like this? You should do it to show people solidarity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's so inspiring to hear someone who has been in such low points as well and be able to come out on the other side, not only be super successful, but also have so much joy and be willing to spread joy. I think that's extremely inspiring.
It is.
Thank you.
It really is.
Wow, this was a great conversation, Auntie. Before we part ways, is there any last advice you would want to give us or anyone who is like, in these decision points in life?
Live your life. Be happy. Live for yourself. Yes, do for others, but first take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
First take care of yourself. First be happy yourself, then spread the happiness to others. So I tell a whole lot of the girls, a whole lot of the women, I tell them to become selfish first and work on their own happiness. Yeah. I give a very stupid analogy over here. It is stupid because it sounds very stupid. So I say that, in this universe, we have all been given, say, $5 worth of happiness.
Yeah.
And let's say you are very, very gracious and you give away 4.95 away. You only keep that 5 or lesser than 5 for yourself. So I'm like, yes, you've done great in your life. But when you start working on yourself and first you become happy yourself, okay, you will turn into an ocean of joy and happiness. Mm-hmm. And from that ocean of joy and happiness, how much can anybody take away? You are only going to be spreading it around. So when you girls first become happy yourself, okay, and especially we women, we don't hold our happiness to us. We are like, come on, I'm giving. We want to spread it around. But till you don't reach that level, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
People are going to call you selfish. You can't do this, you can't do that. Why are you so selfish? Be selfish. Because you can become that ocean. So reach that level and then just spread your happiness. That's it. Just be happy.
I feel like you've been talking about me half the time. I feel like you've been giving advice directly to me. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Auntie. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. We've had such a good time. You do bring so much joy. You are like giving us so much energy. We were talking about how we were maybe a bit tired earlier today, but now I'm full of energy talking to you. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Please do visit us in Taiwan if you get a chance.
Yes.
Otherwise, I will. And you girls come to India and you can come stay in my home.
We'll go enjoy the life of a celebrity.
That's correct.
I'm not a celebrity. No. I'm not a celebrity. I'm still a very, very small actor. Very small actor.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Auntie. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Lots of wise words from Auntie just now.
Yes.
I honestly feel like she was talking to me directly. Because I felt like a lot of the stuff that she was talking about, I can directly relate to in my life at the moment. Especially like career change and grief and all that kind of stuff. I feel like, and especially when she's an artist and she went to not an easy career either. She went into like the arts. I mean, kind of like me, except even harder. And I feel like she's kind of that kind of person that is good at change, though.
I think she's good at change because that was the only kind of way to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's her alternative? Just to mope around? That's kind of her perspective. Like, there's only 2 options.
Yeah.
So might as well just lean into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Anyways, but more to discuss in our next episode, everybody.
Our last episode
of the season. That's right. Crossroads. All right. So we're going to wrap it up?
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up.
I'm creating clips for our social media. I'm just kidding.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on all the different social media and make sure to watch us on the next episode, our last episode of the season. All right. Catch you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.